Yeah, con ban ta ko mongon wala ay maktaba la jot rim con ta ko mong historical mi chal one upon the time ko korun te kon te ga tiki to ko te ga mi to bane ko en to lu ni then ba translate ya ko to nas mong me mong mo wa ko kwi ne ni tidit tin la di na lo do ai cha de ko kwi den ban chat na ban kan ka ban link ka ma go liang de ku cái này me it makes sense se connected ka ku ka roi lo ko mình nam den ka ku roi lo ko nu ngai ko le mi te ka mi ki dir mi ki lat chang la de ne pa ka do ba pa tar be chu ga na nin ki dir do ba wa let la ya di do te ka go ni che ga chen bi chu ni ra pa tar mo bi cho lo gan gwe ka jen che Here alarm Cherumoja Bible. Yeah. And one occurred that history. Then it said the story of old age parents, the sense of being guilty. The sense of being guilty, it is my fault, seem to be universal. First is our status need to believe that the world makes sense that there is a cause for every effect and reason for everything that happened. A suitable definition of guilty make people try to be better, but an excessive sense of guilty tendency to blame ourselves for things that are not our faults rob us of our self-esteem and our ability to grow and act. There was a story of a man named Bombit and his aged mother. Therefore, one of the hardest things Bom ever did was to put his 8 to 7 year old mother in the nursing home. It was the borderline case because his mother was alert and healthy and did not require medical care but could no longer feed or take care of herself. That was the main reason why Bom, the father, I mean the son of his mother, when his mother become too old, even though she has got no issue for any disease, she was not able to feed herself by herself. So the son thought that I will take my mother to the home care. It would be better for the home care to take care of her. This is when the story started. 6 months earlier, the bomb and his wife had taken her into the room after her apartment caught fire when the old lady forgot to turn off the step. The thing started that way. Ka kot pon dang bakal me chi mandien di du mo che mai ta ta di che ban pe de ko cha ra mi dit chu do o mi chi chob la ti ko ma la jo la dementia alles ti ga gad mi bi kam ti yang ne ma wal chi ya lo chi la ka pol ri so chi bom ka ni chek dar chi ko wa Chỉ có man điện chỉ cần wo gor ko ba no ko jen che do kra de cái chia này che bai chỉ trên con nên đã char chỉ cái gì so cha vẫn nuôi chăng cái let me repeat this 6 months earlier the Baum and his wife had taken her into their home after her apartment caught the fire when the old lady forgot to turn off the stove. Chỉ cần một nôn đỏ đèn mấy nhà mà mấy chiếc mà cái đỏ cái quang cái máy. She was lonely, she was already depressed and confused. Bomb wife had to come home from her job at noon time to give her mother-in-law lunch and sit her in front of the TV set until the children came home from school. Uh, man gan boom hala man gan boom mo yen la lu nya jok ke chang der ko be man di do be ben gwi ka tan te ge je ka be ben nyor tar TV ko be gwi ke TV man mi ke ga do di ke lu jok duel gor bum teenagers cut down on her evening social life to babysitter for a grandma when Bom and his wife went out. The children were discouraged from bringing friends into the house. Man gan boom kan na bom chicken guard ken kum ko tela guard ba no kan ti man ken ti ben chen ku chieng mo tot really ka man di tara mi di che goro be ral mi di be je it is a small house and get the noises. Duel ku ka take a job mi di. After a few weeks, it was clear that the argument was not working out. The members of the family were become aged and irritated with one another. So she come in and man gada kan gwan gada she come in take a read to kui room dan barom ne mandi. Mandi ba long room di ku chieng motot ka kan real katin ko mandi te ka gwada no wal mi te tin me chi chieng me wa kana mat ku dien kata ko goro ko di ko la lel ko kuide then kuj mo each one was keeping his score of how much he or she had given up bomb love kan family dial ti kan goro la rama ya mo ko menan go je ke be loy de be kaping ko men there all alone ku no ku man don dien the children love grandma but they realized that she need more than they were able to give. They were they were not prepared to sacrifice time and self-style which caring for the sick older woman needed. Kan ka gwag mi rong kan kan la ka ku man don din te ge kan ga to ki pan ji darmo. They talked it out one night. Ka wo ka chang ka chi roi kan made it some requirement chi go ti kan you know to relax with the pulpus, made some inquiry and reluctantly, but with the purposes of relief, placed her in a nearby nursing home. Baum knew that he was doing the right thing, but he still felt guilty about it. Kan chika mat kan ichiek de bom man one ni no man di ba nang kan nursing home. Again, the solution ke kana jako da gwa ko ba no mo ba la ni ka kore his mother wanted to go there. His mother had not wanted to go there. She offered to be less damage, demanding at home and to be less in the way. He cried if she had seen the older, more crippled resident of the house, wondering how soon she would come to look like them. Man did yen look ka nursing school ko nin la ne de kon chu to la dong trên con trên jal ka thar ken ke jal ka wheelchair chỉ lo de chatet ko di o ye jen bo che ka ne to ko ko na to. In that week, Bombes would not usually think himself as a religious person decide to go to serve before he dropped out to visit his mother and feel strange about the beast. Kajan Jogomo, she got in the bomb, Jay Shadow, and Bolo, the Chanka will lock on when she put Lloyd the Moy career to Jen. Then a go Bolo, the Chank of Jen to Yen to all rock. Cái dân bất đoàn là cái mình đối giật he average of what he would find out what did the mother would tell him cái decide go dân đây là man đây will bên đây lo có đây man đây là will kana home he hope that going to religious service would give him the tranquility and peace of mind he needed cái cha rồi bao lo có cái luyện cho lo có bao kun mar cái yo cho kun mar long bo te ka bom lai mo wa je kre lo ko to mo de ko lo wa long ni ri ndi la ma ku ku mo chi bom je ko lo ko exactly would have it ka tang ko ne te ku che sermon min pal ka che the sermon that morning was on the fifth commandment of honor your father and mother kan chang pal na mo cái jogo right now ka ngani ka commandment nam de logan de den in large no jini lu mor ko gur ko bete bu jang wi mo the cleric spoke of the sacrifice parent make make in raising children and the resilience of children to appreciate those sacrifice chỉ rồi cái quy nè cái quy nè trên con trên đi thế là gạt trên chả gạt kiền chỉ cần gạt kia rồi so the pastor criticized cell center of today young generation by saying why it is that one mother care for 6 children but 6 children can't take care for one mother. All around them were older men and women, not their head approvingly. Cái liêng ấy chỉ cần pastor liêng ra chỉ cái cô la đi này tấm rí chỉ theo cái mẹ chỉ theo cái ta mình đi cô phanh kiên biram la đi đến cái năng bagad đi không có bắt cái long room có cái đang bắt cái là đó chỉ có man điện chỉ cần long room bắt cái rom cô bom nhu cái này đi chỉ này đi al đi the con chỉ cần nó long rồi mới chỉ cái rong gong chỉ có ngoắc cái chỉ cần có gong cái riết mình gọi là yes ấy giờ rồi ta bom cái nhu rồi cái bom left the services feeling hurt and angry có con vào đây gen bom nói đi chỉ giờ long the man thought that he had two lives he was selfish and in caring person in the name of God at the line he was irritating with his wife and children in the nursing home he was impatient with his mother and unable to respond to her He was ashamed of what he had done to her and angrily at her for being the cause of his embarrassment and condemnation. The beat was emotional disaster, leaving all parties wondering if the policeman would never work out. Baum was haunted by the idea that his mother did not have long to live and that when she died, he would never be able to forgive himself for, for having made her last year miserable because of his selfishness. The mother said, "My son, don't worry about me. Go have a good time. I will be all right. Sitting here in the dark." But Bom's situation was made worse by his hearing the voice of religious as judgment one. "Don't worry about me. Have a good time. I will be all right sitting here in the dark." That parents are often scared, vulnerable, and sometimes immature as well. Probability a mother who keep reminding her children of her sacrifice in the name of their happiness create a debt that no one could work off in the lifetime. Has become a stock finger of the literature and honorable. It is a challenging situation to handle under the best of conditions. They may not be able to use illness, loneliness, or guilty to manipulate their children into giving them the attention they desperately needed. There should be ceremony about the honor due to parents if had bomb been clearly headed that morning. He may have told the preacher that sick children cannot take care one of the mother because those six children all have spouses and children of their own. He could have explained that he loved his mother but had a primary loyalty to the well-being of his wife and children even when he was young. His mother had loved her parents but had been more concerned with him than she was with them. That is the story. My own reading, my generation. Uh, Again, ba jaga kwan ge the young generation of today language, they will hear it a lot because we share all these things together. Na me chata de kawai la lat ke late la lat ke na ke chiang tan kon ki to chiang ni to ba ka go ko na lo lan tin na ban de kuin in the dien ban de je ni alwan me be kuin kon.
The story of old age parents. The sense of being guilty. The sense of being guilty, it is my fault, seems to be universal. The first is our strenuous need to believe that the world makes sense, that there is a cause for every effect and a reason for everything that happens. A suitable definition of guilt makes people try to be better. But an excessive sense of guilt, a tendency to blame ourselves for things that are not our fault, robs us of our self-esteem and our ability to grow and act. There was a story of a man named Bumbith and his aged mother. Therefore, one of the hardest things the Baum ever did was to put his 8 to 7-year-old mother in a nursing home. It was a borderline case because his mother was alert and healthy and did not require medical care, but could no longer feed or take care of herself. 6 months earlier, the Baum and his wife had taken her into their home after her apartment caught fire when the old lady forgot to turn off the stove. She was lonely, depressed, and confused. Baum's wife had to come home from her job at noontime to give her mother law lunch and sit her in front of the TV set until the children came home from school. Baum's teenage daughter cut down on her evening social life to babysit for grandma when Baum and his wife went out. The children were discouraged from bringing friends into the house. It is a small house and gets noisy. After a few weeks, it was clear that the arrangement was not working out. The members of the family were becoming edgy and irritable with one another. Each one was keeping score of how much he or she had given up. Baum loved his mother. The children loved grandma, but they realized that she needed more than they were able to give. They were not prepared to sacrifice time and self-style, which caring for a sick older woman needed. They talked it over one night, made some inquiries, and reluctantly, but with a palpable sense of relief, placed her in a nearby nursing home. Boombith knew that he was doing the right thing, but he still felt guilty about it. His mother had not wanted to go there. She offered to be less demanding at home and to be less in the way. She cried if she had seen the older, more crippled residents of the house, wondering how soon she would come to look like them. That weekend, Boombeth, who did not usually think of himself as a religious person, decided to go to services before he drove out to visit his mother. He felt strange about the visit. Afraid of what he would find or what his mother would tell him, he hoped that going to a religious service would give him the tranquility and peace of mind he needed. As luck would have it, the sermon that morning was on the 5th commandment, honor your father and mother. The clergyman spoke of the sacrifice parents make in raising children and the reliance of children to appreciate those sacrifices. He criticized the self-centeredness of today's younger generation by saying, "Why is it that one mother can care for 6 children, but 6 children can't care for one mother?" All around Boom were older men and women, nodding their heads approvingly. The Baum left the service feeling hurt and angry. The man thought that he had told us he was a selfish and uncaring person in the name of God. At lunch, he was irritable with his wife and children. In the nursing home, he was impatient with his mother and unable to respond to her. He was ashamed of what he had done to her and angry at her for being the cause of his embarrassment and condemnation. The visit was an emotional disaster, leaving all parties wondering if the placement would never work out. The Baum was haunted by the idea that his mother did not have long to live and that when she died, he would never be able to forgive himself for having made her last year miserable because of his selfishness. The mother said, "Don't worry about me. Go have a good time. I will be all right sitting here in the dark," but the Baum situation was made worse by his hearing the voice of religion as a judgmental one. "Don't worry about me. Have a good time. I will be all right sitting here in the dark." That parents are often scared, vulnerable, and sometimes emotionally immature as well. The proverbial mother who keeps reminding her children of her sacrifices in the name of their happiness, creating a debt that no one could work off in a lifetime, has become a stock figure of literature and humor. It is a challenging situation to handle under the best of conditions. They may not be above using illness, loneliness, or guilt to manipulate their children into giving them the attention they desperately needed. There should be sermons about the honor due to parents. If had Baum been clearer equals headed that morning, he might have told the preacher that 6 children cannot take care of one mother because those 6 children all have spouses and children of their own. He could have explained that he loves his mother, but had a primary loyalty to the well-being of his wife and children, even as when he was young his mother had loved her parents, but had been more concerned with him than she was with them. Rui Bull, borui68@gmail.com. 2.
Yeah, chaka wamal. Jan peg kwena dan namo ke wole mother kan gade min kwele take care. Ted ba samre ba lat ko tongna ko kwi ram dit ke yang dan chang ye agad ke. Ba lat ko tongno ra ke kaset.